The silent ship, the alien patrol ship, drifted through the empty darkness of space. Its scanners moved in every direction, searching for signs of life. For hours there was nothing but silence. Only the quiet hum of the engines. The crew had grown bored, some even tired. But then something appeared. A shadow lingered far ahead, blacker than the void itself. At first the crew thought it was an asteroid, but the shape was too sharp, too perfect. The shadow was long, smooth, and massive. The alien captain leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Lock the scanners on that object, he ordered. His crew obeyed. Signals spread out from the ship, bouncing toward the unknown vessel. Yet nothing came back. The signals vanished as if swallowed by the void. "This is impossible," one of the technicians whispered. "Every surface reflects something, but this ship reflects nothing." The captain felt a shiver run through his spine. He had seen old stories, legends of ghost ships drifting silently in space. But those were myths. This, however, was real, and it was right in front of them. The alien patrol grew tense. Some whispered among themselves. Others stared in awe. The mysterious ship had no markings, no lights, and no heat signature. It was as if it was asleep or watching them. The captain straightened his back. He knew his duty. "Send a hail," he ordered. "If someone is inside, they will answer." The communication officer hesitated. His fingers trembled as he tapped the console. A burst of sound and light shot toward the silent ship. The channel opened, and the aliens waited. Seconds passed, but there was no reply. The only sound was the nervous breathing of the crew. The silence became heavy, almost crushing. The captain gave a second order. "Boost the signal. Make sure they can hear us." The communication officer obeyed. His hands moved quickly. Another hail was sent, louder, stronger, reaching across the void. Still, no reply came. The ship did not move. It did not react. One young alien whispered, "Maybe it's dead, a wreck with no crew." But another shook his head. "No wreck could hide from scanners like this. That ship is alive. It is awake." The captain's eyes stayed locked on the dark shape. He could feel it. The ship was not empty. Something inside was waiting. The minutes dragged like hours then. Something happened. The crew gasped as faint lines of light appeared on the hull. They moved like veins glowing under black skin, forming patterns no alien had ever seen. "It is answering." The communication officer muttered, fear in his voice. The lights flickered, growing brighter, then dimmer. As if the ship was breathing, the alien crew leaned closer to the screens, hearts pounding in their chests. "Should we approach?" the first officer asked. His voice was tight with fear. The captain thought carefully. He knew this could be a trap, but curiosity burned inside him. Curiosity was what had driven explorers across the galaxy, and curiosity was what often killed. "Them, move closer," the captain said at last. But slowly, shields up, engines hummed. The patrol ship crept forward, step by step through the darkness. The closer they got, the larger the shadow became, until it dwarfed their own ship, like a predator watching prey. The communication officer sent another hail. "Unidentified vessel, respond." His voice cracked. "State your identity." For a moment nothing happened. The alien crew held their breath. Then a spark of sound broke through the silence. Static at first, like the voice of a storm. Then clear words followed, but the words were not alien. The words were not in any language the patrol had expected. The voice was deep, steady, and chilling. "This is Earth Control," the voice said, calm and powerful. "Identify yourselves." The crew froze. No one moved. No one spoke. The sound of the human voice echoed across the cabin, like a ghost returning from the dead. Earth, a name the aliens had nearly forgotten. Humans, a species thought weak, isolated, unworthy of galactic power. Yet here, in this moment, the name struck like thunder. The young alien whispered, "Earth?" But they were nothing. They had no fleets, no empire. How the captain silenced him with a glare. His throat was dry. His mind raced. If this was truly an Earthship, then everything the galaxy believed was a lie. The mysterious vessel waited, glowing faintly with its strange patterns. The human voice spoke again, sharper this time. "You were told to identify yourselves," it said. "Do not test us again." The communication officer stammered, unable to reply. His hands hovered over the console, but fear locked him in place. The captain's heart pounded. He felt like prey under the gaze of something ancient, something far stronger than his fleet. He opened his mouth, but no words came. Silence filled the patrol ship. The alien crew could only stare at the black shape before them, and deep inside, each of them realized one terrible truth. They had not found the ship. The ship had allowed itself to be found. And now Earth had answered. Asterisk, a voice not theirs. The patrol ship's bridge was frozen in silence. No one spoke, no one breathed. The sound of the human voice still echoed in their ears, calm yet filled with authority. "This is Earth Control," it had said. That single sentence was heavier than any weapon. The aliens exchanged uneasy glances. For centuries, humans had been dismissed by the galaxy, weak and quiet. Their homeworld, Earth, had faded from memory. They were considered primitive, unimportant. But now, here was proof that those beliefs were wrong. The captain forced himself to speak. His throat was dry. "Open a return channel," he ordered. The communication officer nodded. His hands trembled as he activated the link. "This is Commander Vaylor of the Cathari Patrol Fleet," he stammered. "Identify your vessel." A moment of static followed. The crew leaned forward, hearts pounding. Then, the same human voice answered, colder than before. "You are in restricted space," the voice said. "Leave immediately or face consequences." The words were clear, sharp, and final. There was no hesitation, no weakness, only power. The crew shivered. The first officer whispered, "Consequences? From a single ship?" The captain glared at him, but deep down, he shared the same thought. This was only one vessel, yet it spoke with the authority of an empire. "Scan it again," the captain ordered. "I want details, anything." The scanners reached out once more, but the results were the same nothing. The ship was invisible to their technology. No energy readings, no material signatures. It was like scanning a shadow. "This should not be possible," the technician muttered. "No technology can hide completely." The first officer leaned closer to the captain. What if? What if this is not just a ship? What if it is something more? Before the captain could answer, the human voice returned. "You ignored our warning," it said. "This is your last chance. Withdraw." The words rolled across the cabin like thunder. The crew felt them in their bones. One young alien, desperate to prove his courage, slammed his hand on the console. "We will not be threatened," he shouted. His fingers activated a small probing beam aimed at the human vessel. The beam shot forward, bright and thin, touching the dark hull of the mysterious ship. For a moment, nothing happened. The crew leaned closer, hope flickering in their eyes. Then the probe disintegrated, not destroyed, not blocked, erased. 1 second it existed, the next it was gone. No explosion, no fragments, just gone. The crew gasped, fear spreading through every heart. "Turn it off." The captain barked. His eyes burned into the young alien. "Do you want to kill us all?" The human voice returned, sharper, cutting like a blade. "You have made your choice," it said. "Now you will see the truth." The bridge went cold, as if the very air had frozen. Lights dimmed, consoles flickered. The patrol ship's systems began to fail one by one. "Our engines," an officer shouted. "They are shutting down. Our weapons are offline." Another cried. The ship shuddered as its power drained away. As if invisible hands were pulling the life from it, the alien crew panicked, pressing buttons, shouting orders, but nothing worked. "This cannot be," the captain whispered. "They are inside our systems." Then, across every screen, across every channel, the same human words appeared in bright letters. "Do not approach AGA," and the crew stared at the message. Their hearts pounded. Their fear was now beyond words. The lights flickered once more, and suddenly the systems came back to life. Engines roared. Weapons hummed. Consoles lit up. The ship was alive again. But no one cheered. No one smiled. They all knew the truth. Their ship had not recovered. It had been released. The human voice spoke one last time, low and calm. "Tell your leaders. Earth remembers." Then silence. The mysterious vessel dimmed, its glowing veins fading back into darkness. It drifted once more like a corpse in the gala. Void, quiet and still, the crew sat in stunned silence, their eyes wide, their breaths shallow. The captain finally spoke, his voice trembling. "Set course away from this sector," he ordered. Now, the patrol ship turned slowly, engines pushing it into the black. The alien crew did not look back. Fear chained their eyes forward, but in their hearts, one thought grew louder and louder. If this was only one ship, hidden and silent for who knows how long, then how many? More were out there? And why had humanity returned now? The captain stared into the void, his mind filled with dread. He whispered the thought none of them wanted to say aloud. If Earth has this power, the galaxy is not ready. And with that, the patrol ship fled into the darkness, leaving the silent vessel behind. Asterisk. Whispers of the past. The patrol ship raced away from the dark vessel, but fear did not leave the crew. Every heartbeat carried the echo of that human voice, calm, commanding, and full of warning. No one spoke for a long time, only the low hum of. The engines filled the silence. The crew avoided looking at each other, afraid that even a glance might reveal their terror. At last, the first officer broke the silence. His voice was low. "Captain, was that really them? Was that really Earth?" The captain's jaw tightened. He wanted to deny it. He wanted to say it was a trick, but deep down, he knew the truth. "Yes," he said quietly. "It was Earth." The young alien technician leaned forward, his eyes wide. But Earth was nothing. Their fleets were destroyed long ago, their colonies abandoned. How could this be? The captain's gaze hardened. "Not destroyed," he said. "Forgotten." The crew exchanged nervous looks. The galaxy had pushed Earth into the shadow centuries ago. Humanity had been mocked as weak, too fragile for the harsh void of space. Entire empires had laughed at the idea of humans holding power. And yet, here they were. One of the older crew members shivered. "I've heard stories," he whispered. "Old stories told by merchants in the darker trade routes. They say humanity vanished on purpose. They say Earth was never weak, only waiting." The words chilled the crew. Legends had always floated through the void. Whispers of hidden ships, human fleets disappearing beyond the edges of known space, tales of ancient weapons buried in silence. The young technician scoffed nervously, trying to hide his fear. "Those are just ghost stories, meant to scare children." But the older crew member shook his head. "Ghost stories do not erase probes. Ghost stories do not drain entire ships of power with a single warning." The first officer leaned closer. "If the stories are true, then humanity has been watching us all this time." The captain gripped the armrest of his chair. His mind raced. He remembered ancient records from his academy days, records often dismissed as myth. In those records, humanity had fought wars. Unlike any other species, wars not for conquest, but for survival. The humans had burned worlds to protect their own. They had built warships that vanished into the void. Ships that never returned, but were never destroyed. Ships that might have been waiting. The bridge lights flickered, pulling the crew out of their thoughts. A new message appeared across the main screen. The crew gasped. It was not from their own. Systems. The message was old, broken, and full of static, but the words were clear. Do not forget Terra. The crew froze. Their blood ran cold. The ship's systems scrambled to trace the signal, but there was nothing. It was not coming from the vessel they had left behind. It was coming from somewhere far older, deeper, a hidden frequency buried. In space itself, the first officer's voice shook. Captain, this frequency. It is thousands of years old, the older crew member whispered again. They were waiting. The crew's fear grew heavier. For the first time, they understood that this was not just about a single ship. This was about a history erased. History returning. The young alien tried to steady his voice. If this is true, if Earth has been hiding, why now? Why return now? The captain did not answer. He stared into the void ahead, his mind burning with dread. He knew the answer. Even if he could not speak it, humanity had waited until the galaxy had forgotten them. And now, they had chosen. To speak again, the ship's sensors beeped suddenly. Alarms filled the cabin. The crew scrambled. Multiple signals detected. The technician shouted, "Behind us!" The captain's blood turned cold. He ordered the screens active, and there, in the blackness, shapes appeared, not one, not two, but several shadows drifting in formation. They were distant, but their outlines were unmistakable. Each was massive, silent, and dark. As the first, the crew trembled. Their voices cracked with fear. It wasn't alone, one whispered. The captain's chest tightened. His voice came out as a whisper. This is no ghost story. The first officer swallowed hard. Captain, if these are human ships, then the galaxy is in danger. The captain shook his head slowly, his eyes heavy with realization. No, he said, his voice quiet but certain. Not danger. Judgment. The mysterious shapes in the distance remained still, silent guardians in the dark, as if they were waiting, watching, listening. And deep inside every alien heart on that ship, one truth grew stronger. Humanity had never been weak. Humanity had never been lost. Humanity had only been patient. The first warning. The alien patrol ship limped across the void, still haunted by the vision of those silent shadows in the distance. None of the crew dared to speak loudly, as if the very sound of their voices might attract attention. But the silence did not last long. Without warning, every console flickered. Every screen on the bridge went black. The crew shouted in panic, slamming buttons, trying to bring the systems back. Then a sound broke through, low, steady, and terrifying. It was music, not alien music, not machine noise, but deep human voices carried across the void. A rhythm of drums pounded through the speakers. A chorus of voices rising with words the aliens could not understand. The crew froze. The sound was not violent, but it carried weight. It was defiance, pride, and war all at once. The first officer whispered, his eyes wide. What? What is this? The older crew member's voice trembled. It is a warning. The captain gripped his chair as the music grew louder. It spread not just through their ship, but across the entire patrol fleet. Other vessels reported the same sound flooding there. Systems drowning their channels. This is impossible. The technician cried. They are inside every ship at once. The captain's jaw tightened. He understood. This was not just communication. This was control. Suddenly, the bridge screens lit up again. But instead of system data, the crew saw images, old recordings, flickering like ghosts, human warships burning across starfields, entire alien fleets reduced to wreckage, cities on unknown worlds set ablaze, soldiers in heavy armor marching forward through fire and destruction. The crew gasped in horror. These were not stories. These were memories. Humanity's memories. The young alien's voice cracked. Why? Why are they showing us this? The captain's voice was low. Because they want us to remember what they are capable of. Then, as if to prove the point, the patrol ship's weapons system activated. On its own, the crew panicked. "Captain, it's firing sequence." Before they could stop it, one of their own cannons turned and unleashed a blast at the black void, and the mysterious ship appeared. The blast had not struck empty space. It had struck something cloaked, the massive. Hull shimmered into existence for only a second, dark and endless, then vanished again. The crew screamed. It was right there, right beside us. The captain's hands shook. His heart thundered in his chest. They had never been safe. The humans had been watching from the shadows the whole time. The human voice returned, not calm now, but sharp, cutting through their fear. "You ignored us," it said. "This is your first warning." The music stopped. The images vanished. But something worse followed. Every ship in the patrol fleet lost gravity at once. Crew members floated helplessly into the air, consoles and tools drifting like toys. Panic filled the cabins. Then, just as quickly, gravity returned, slamming everyone to the floor. Some cried out in pain. Others stared in shock. The human voice spoke again, quieter but colder. "We could have ended you," it said, "but we did not." The captain's breath shook. He forced himself to stand. "Why?" he demanded. "Why show us this? Why not destroy us if you have the power?" For a moment, there was silence. The crew held their breath. Then the voice answered, with words that burned into their minds, because fear lasts longer than fire. The crew shivered. Every word felt like a chain, binding them tighter to there. "Terror," the first officer stammered. "Captain, we cannot fight this. We must leave. We must warn the Empire." But even as he spoke, the bridge lights dimmed once more. A single message appeared across every ship's screen. "Tell your leaders. The time of silence is over." The music rose again, for a brief moment louder, stronger, like thunder rolling across the stars. Then it stopped, leaving the crew in hollow silence. The alien fleet began to retreat, their ships limping away. None dared to look back. None dared to fire again. Yet deep inside, the captain knew this was not an end. It was a beginning. He stared into the void, whispering the truth. This is not war. This is a warning. And across the patrol fleet, fear settled heavy in every heart. Because if this was only the first warning, what would the second one be? The gathering storm, the patrol fleet limped back to their empire's border, battered not by weapons, but by fear. Their reports spread quickly through military channels, words repeating over and over like a curse. Earth control has returned. They, high command of the Cathari Empire, gathered in a war chamber of steel and glass. Admirals, generals, and counselors listened in silence as the shaken patrol crew described the events. Some laughed at first, dismissing it as fear. But when the recordings played, when the human voice filled the chamber, no one laughed again. The admirals muttered among themselves, "It is a trick, some rogue faction, some technology we have not seen." But others shook their heads. No faction could erase scans. No ship could erase probes. This was something else. The Supreme Admiral rose, his eyes burning with arrogance. "If the humans wish to frighten us with shadows and music, then we will answer with fire." He waved his hand, and at once the order was given. A battle fleet was assembled, 30 ships strong, armed with the most powerful weapons of the Empire. They would crush this phantom vessel and prove the Cathari were still masters of the stars. When the patrol captain heard the order, dread filled his chest. He tried to warn them. "Admiral, you do not understand. We are powerless against it. It controlled us like children. You cannot fight this." But the Supreme Admiral sneered. "Then watch and learn how true power answers weakness." The fleet launched, engines blazing, war drums echoing through space as they moved into formation. 30 ships, bristling with cannons and missiles, forged ahead toward the silent sector. Where the humans had appeared, the void was quiet when they arrived. Only stars shimmered in the black. No human ship was visible. The admiral smirked. "Ghost stories," he muttered. "We will flush them out." He ordered the fleet to scatter probes. Scanners swept the emptiness, searching every shadow. At first, nothing was found. But then, the void shifted. It was not one ship, not even a few. It was dozens, shadows peeling themselves from the darkness, massive hulls outlined by faint glowing veins. They surrounded the Cathari fleet in silence. The officers gasped. "Impossible! There are so many." The admiral's arrogance faltered, but he forced a grin. "Numbers mean nothing. Fire all weapons." Cannons roared, missiles streaked, beams of energy carved across the void. The sky lit with fire. The Cathari fleet unleashed everything it. Once, but the human ships did not move. They did not shield. They did not scatter. Every blast vanished into the black hulls as if swallowed, absorbed like water into sand. Not a single scratch appeared. The crew screamed in disbelief. Our weapons do nothing. The Supreme Admiral's face went pale, but before he could speak, the human ships moved. Slowly, deliberately, they lit their veins like stars awakening. A low hum shook through the void, so deep it rattled bones even inside sealed ships then. A single voice broke the silence, carried across every channel, every screen, every mind. "You were warned." The nearest Cathari battleship erupted in light. One instant it existed, the next it was dust, erased without sound. The Cathari fleet panicked. Ships broke formation. Captains screamed orders. But chaos spread faster than command. The patrol captain, still aboard his small vessel, watched in horror. He whispered to himself, "This is not battle. This is judgment." Another human ship fired. A second Cathari cruiser vanished. Then another, and another, each erased in perfect silence. No explosions, no debris, only absence. The admiral shouted, "Retreat! Retreat now!" The fleet scrambled to flee, engines burning, but the human ships did not pursue. They only drifted in silence, glowing faintly, watching like predators letting prey escape. Finally, the voice returned, calm once more. "You fired first," it said. "This was your storm. We are only the lightning." The words sank deep, colder than any weapon. The survivors fled, leaving half their fleet erased from existence. The black ships did not chase. They simply turned, and in unison, vanished back into the void, cloaked once more in silence. The patrol captain's heart pounded. He knew the truth now. The galaxy had woken something that should have been left alone. Humanity had not returned for war. They had returned for control. And this, he realized with dread, was only the beginning. Asterisk fire from Earth. The Cathari survivors fled in silence, their ships crippled by fear more than damage. But the story of the battle spread faster than light. Across every corner of the galaxy, whispers began. The humans are back. Earth has returned. The Galactic Council called an emergency assembly. Leaders of countless empires gathered. Their voices shook with anger, fear, and disbelief. "This cannot be," one shouted. Earth was weak. They could not build fleets like this. They were erased from history, another argued. No human fleets survived. But an older ruler spoke, his voice heavy. "I warned you long ago. Humans do not die quietly. They vanish, they wait, and they return." The chamber erupted in panic. Arguments roared. Some demanded war, others demanded peace. But all agreed on one truth: humanity could no longer be ignored. Meanwhile, in the silent sector, the human fleet did not move. Dozens of ships floated, like black mountains in the void. Their glowing veins pulsed slowly, as if they were alive. Then, without warning, one ship broke formation. It moved forward, drifting into a system ruled by the Cathari Empire. Its shadow fell across a planet of billions. The Cathari High Command scrambled. They launched every weapon they had: orbital cannons, ground missiles, fleets of fighters. the sky above the planet burned with fire, but the human ship did not falter. Its hull swallowed every blast, absorbing the storm like raindrops on stone. The people below looked up in terror as the night sky turned black. The ship was so massive it blotted out the stars. Children cried, soldiers screamed, leaders begged for answers. Then it began. A single beam of light erupted from the ship, not fire, not plasma, but something the galaxy had never seen. The beam was silent, colorless, pure. It struck one of the Cathari orbital stations, and the station was gone. Not destroyed, not broken gone. As if it had never existed, the Cathari commanders panicked. All ships fire. Fire everything. Their fleets unleashed a storm. Dozens of cruisers fired at once. The void lit like 1,000 suns. But when the light faded, the human ship remained, untouched. Then the human voice echoed across every channel. Every city, every mind, you brought this fire upon yourselves. It said, steady and merciless. Now you will learn. The ship fired again. Another station vanished. Then another. In moments, the entire defense grid around the planet was erased. The planet's surface shook with fear. Crowds gathered. In the streets, staring at the black shape above, their leaders sent desperate pleas for mercy. But the human voice did not speak of mercy. This is not war, it said. This is balance. The ground trembled as the ship's shadow shifted. Its glowing veins pulsed brighter, and for one terrible moment, the people believed the planet itself would vanish. But then, the light dimmed, the ship stopped. It did not destroy the world. It did not erase the cities. Instead, it broadcast a single message across every channel, carved into every screen, etched into every mind. Earth does not seek your destruction. Earth seeks your obedience. The Cathari leaders collapsed in fear. Some argued for resistance, but their voices were drowned by the truth. There was no resistance. There was only survival. The ship lingered above the planet for hours, its shadow pressing down like a warning. Then, as silently as it came, it withdrew, drifting back into the void where the others waited. Across the galaxy, fear grew heavier. The council chambers fell into chaos. Some cried for peace talks. Others demanded retaliation, but no one could deny the reality. Humanity was no longer a forgotten species. They were power itself, a storm wrapped in silence. The patrol captain, now back at his outpost, sat in darkness. Replaying the events in his mind, he whispered to himself, they could have ended us, but they didn't. They are showing us something. They are testing us. He closed his eyes, a single thought echoing in his heart. If this is their fire, then what comes next? The final message. The galaxy had fallen into silence. Empires that once roared with pride now whispered in fear. Trade routes were empty, fleets hid in their docks, and every ruler stared into the stars, waiting for the humans, the Cathari. Empire, once arrogant, now trembled. Half their fleet had been erased, their defenses stripped bare. Their leaders argued behind locked doors, but none dared send another attack. Fear had already defeated them, but fear was not confined to one. Empire, across the galaxy. Other civilizations watched with growing terror. Some prayed the humans would not come for them. Others began secret talks of surrender before war even began. In the council chamber, the great rulers of 100 worlds gathered, their voices cracked with panic. What do they want? Why now? What do we do? No answer came until the chamber itself went dark. Screens flickered, lights dimmed, and every voice was silenced as a single symbol appeared in the air above them. It was an old Earth emblem, 2 circles around a star, pulsing with white light. Then the voice came. This is Earth control, it said, calm and steady. The words echoed not only in the chamber, but across every ship, every planet, every station in the galaxy. No place was spared. No ear was safe. You forgot us. Voice continued. You erased us. You mocked us as weak. You built your empires on our silence. The rulers froze. Some trembled, some cried, some shouted in anger, but none could escape the voice. For centuries, we watched, the voice said. We learned your weapons, your laws, your fears. We hid in the dark, waiting for the moment when your arrogance would blind you. The air grew heavy. Even the strongest leaders felt small. Now, that moment has come, the voice declared. This is not conquest. This is not revenge. This is order. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Order? What kind of order? The voice grew sharper, colder. You will not fire upon us again. You will not send fleets into our path. From this moment, you will remember Earth. The chamber shook as if the very stars answered. Screens across the galaxy burned with the same message, carved into every system. Earth has returned, but the voice was not finished. To those who obey, there will be peace, it said. To those who resist, there will be silence. The words rang like a blade, cutting through the hearts of every listener. The galaxy understood at last. This was not a threat. This was a law. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some rulers screamed for surrender. Others swore to resist. But deep down, all of them knew the truth. Humanity had already won, not with battles, but with fear, on the patrol ship. The captain stood alone in his quarters. He replayed the voice in his mind. He thought of the black ships in the void, silent and endless. He thought of the beams that erased whole stations. He thought of the message carved across the stars. And he knew no empire could fight this. He whispered to himself, we thought they were gone, but they were waiting, and now they are everywhere. Far across the galaxy, in hidden corners of space, the human fleet gathered, silent, patient, watching. Their ships pulsed faintly like sleeping beasts, waiting for the next command. The final broadcast still echoed across the stars, repeating, in endless loops, Earth has returned. Do not test us again. And though no human face was seen, no human soldier stepped forward. The galaxy felt them everywhere. The storm had come. The fire had spoken, and now the galaxy trembled under the weight of the final truth. Humanity was not here to ask. Humanity was here to rule. Asterisk.